Hello there, my name is Thomas O'Regan. I'm a professional property investor here in Australia. And guess what, guys? I am a rentvestor. And it may seem counterintuitive to rent and invest in properties at the same time, but there's a lot of different reasons why you would do it. Now, one reason might be it's not practical, or it's not actually viable for you to buy a home that you would want to live in, because the price of the homes that you would want to live in are all too expensive. But the homes, like, literally too expensive for you to even afford them. But does that mean you can't buy a property as an investment? Absolutely not. You can buy properties as investments for anywhere as cheap as $300,000, and most people on incomes as small as $50,000 can afford something like that. And why would you bother buying an investment property when you can't buy a home to live in, or you can't buy your dream home or whatever? The reason is because you need to start somewhere on the ladder, right? You might not be buying your dream home straight away, and I don't think anyone should be able to afford their dream home straight away, because if you can afford your dream home straight away, then you're dreaming too small, okay? So for me and my wife, we've built a property portfolio large enough that we could buy our dream home now if we wanted to. Now, the fact that we couldn't do that 4 years ago without our investment property, but today we can, tells me not that we should buy a dream home now, but that we should push harder on our investment portfolio to go above and beyond what we could have achieved without. Now, the thing is, even if we were at the point, or we are at the point where we could buy a dream home, the thing about lending is in borrowing capacity, which you ultimately need to understand to be good or to progress in investing, and it's the largest barrier that most people can't overcome. It's borrowing and servicing capacity. How do you go from one property to two property, three property, four? It's very complicated, and you need to understand that. If you don't understand that, it's going to be almost impossible for you to ever get there, right? So understand borrowing capacity and lending and how banking works in terms of leverage and all that sort of stuff. Now, I got a bit off track there, and I just want to talk about rentvesting, right? So, rentvesting, another reason you might rentvest is simply, here's another example that is from me and my wife's example, right? The place where we live and rent is extremely nice. And I don't mean the apartment is nice, I mean the area is very, very nice. We live close to the beach. It's close to the dog park. I can go surfing whenever I want. There's parks everywhere. There's bushland everywhere. There's events, athletic events on all the time. There's nice restaurants. It's a very nice place to live, okay? But, if we didn't want to rentvest, we would have to, or it would be best for us to buy a place in somewhere that's not nice, and we'd have to live in it. We wouldn't pay rent, but we'd have to make that sacrifice to live somewhere that's cheaper, so we could continue investing, right? And if you guys aren't picking this up, if you are to buy a home to live in that is the ideal or the dream home, the mortgage on the home is so large, it's not viable, or it's tying your hands behind your backs when it comes to growing and scaling your property portfolio. And the point of growing and scaling your property portfolio is to rapidly build wealth, so you can put yourself in a position where if you wanted to buy the dream home, you can just do it in cash, right? Because that's the dream, right? You buy your dream home in cash and life's good. But that's another reason why you would rentvest. And let me dive a little bit deeper in that. Say, for example, you're like paying $700 in rent per week. Does it make sense for you to own two investment properties that are generating, $350 per week each? It could, depends on what the capital growth potential is of the properties. Now, if the capital growth potential was exceeding what you're paying in rent, then obviously that's an okay investment. But if your capital growth on your properties, your investment properties, is less than what you are paying in rent yourself, if you're not getting 700, it's weird to say this, but if you're not getting $700 a week capital growth per $700 capital growth per week, then it's no point in investing in property, because you may as well just, you're not going anywhere, right? But for example, okay, this is better. But say if you're getting $200,000 of capital growth per year, and you're paying for your investment properties, but you're paying like 36 grand in rent per year. That makes sense, right? I hope you guys are getting my point. But I'll leave it there and see you guys next time. Bye.